Right, so it's very much stand by your post, support the rail workers as the government continues to scuttle their own negotiations with them, and back everyone else taking strike action this month as the powers that be try to ensure we keep on earning our poverty whilst paying through the nose for poorer, more unsafe services. And of course, we've seen trade union bosses become more recognisable and better known as time goes on. Your Mick Lynches, your Dave Wards, your Mark Serwotkas, and as much as we enjoy these guys slamming subversive media narratives, as good as they are at it, as brilliant and effective representatives of their members as they are, from a worker's perspective, they could be anybody. As long as they are delivering for their members, when the bosses, and certainly right now the government too, are coming for them, they couldn't care less if their general secretary was called Mick Lynch or Eddie Dempsey or Joe Bloggs or Mickey Mouse. It's results that count. So amidst all of these stories of employees taking on employers over pay, terms and conditions, it puzzles me somewhat that all of a sudden Unite's conference centre is back in the news again. Now, Sharon Graham, when she was elected to the post of General Secretary last year, said she wanted to commission a then QC, now obviously a KC-led inquiry into the building of this conference centre because evaluation of the building was considerably lower than the cost of building it, despite independent auditors having found no irregularities whatsoever. So she wanted the potential loss to Unite investigated. Now, she's perfectly entitled to do that. The KC-led inquiry has, as far as I'm aware, been completed. So she's also later commissioned another inquiry. Why? Was the KC one not good enough? Followed by a forensic investigation. I mean, how much did all this cost for one? Why go to these lengths for another? If she's worried about union finances being wasted, and why report this now, when it actually pushes down the news agenda, the more important issues of the strike action going on? The timing of this coming out now is weird to me because there's nothing as such to report yet. There are allegations of criminality, apparently, but being allegations, they are neither proven, nor can they be reported in detail whilst said investigations are still ongoing. So right now, this is a non-news story being reported in the press by the likes of the Mirror and the Huffington Post. It's also been on the BBC and it's been covered by Sky, and they're just the ones I'm aware of at time of writing. Stories of strike action, of how hard unionised people are having it in their industries, of what employers are trying to force on them. The only things that matter to trade union members affected, their unions fighting for them, and Unite, led by Sharon Graham, have managed to bury that to some extent, at least for a day anyway. I don't see what benefit this has to their members. To Unite workers being on strike, it's embarrassing me because I've been covering trade union news heavily of late and I'm a Unite member myself. No, I don't care about this until you've got something concrete to tell me. So why are you doing this now when you've nothing to report? Is it vanity? Are other trade union bosses getting more attention? Is it the launch of your next General Secretary campaign? Because I'd say you're starting paranoidically early, if so. But the HuffPost article did flag up something else in their coverage that I would like Sharon Graham to answer right now. You see, Sharon Graham made a big point when she came into her role of saying Labour needed to get itself sorted out, support the unions, remember what Labour was formed to do, be the party of the workers, and stop being a lame duck when it came to workers' rights, because, as we all know, Keir Starmer really doesn't give a stuff. She said she's all about fighting for pay, jobs and conditions, which, given this latest news, is a bit rich right now, but she also said that her union, note the language, it's hers, not ours. Sounds just like Starmer when he's talking about his Labour Party. But she said to her union would no longer rely on Labour. Now, Unite cut its funding to Labour back in 2020 before Sharon Graham came in because of Starmer's reluctance to stand by workers, his Tory lightism, his dishonesty in what he stood for when he stood to become Labour leader. So the argument can be made that she was simply echoing her predecessor, Len McCluskey, in that, though it seems her thoroughness in investigating that conference centre and the unnecessary coverage it's currently getting smacks of looking for someone to blame and a distancing from the previous administration. But the thing in HuffPost that got me was that despite her claims regarding the Labour Party, she is still giving them vast amounts of cash, having given Labour more than £700,000 between July and September of this year. So I looked up the donations to Labour from Unite, publicly available on the Electoral Commission website. And although those records currently only go up to January of this year, so HuffPost have some more recent figures from somewhere, and with Sharon Graham only having become General Secretary of Unite in the previous August of 2021, Unite have made donations to the Labour Party of Keir Starmer under those first, let's say, 6 months of Graham's tenure of more than £1.1 million. According to HuffPost, a further £700,000 has been made in donations between July and September of this year, and we have that gap between January and July this year, where it seems reasonable to assume further donations will have been made to Labour from Unite that aren't yet publicly available. That's some epic donating to a party you no longer rely on, Sharon. I thought you weren't going to do politics and it was all about pay, jobs and conditions. Well, aside from taking the focus off of people in other unions as well as her own members fighting for their pay, jobs and conditions, she's also now delivering the Tories ammo because Nadeem Zahawi, Mr. That's what Putin would want, has now told Sky that Labour should stop accepting donations for Unite and return the most recent £750,000 they've given Labour, his quoted figures, until this matter is resolved. All a bit rich when the Tories seem to be run on Russian rubles. But whoever thought it wise to drop this story to the media, be it Sharon or someone acting on her behalf, a moot point in my opinion because ultimately the buck stops with her, has actually managed to bring the entire union into disrepute now until the investigations that were ongoing anyway, but didn't need reporting yet. And let's face it, somebody in Unite surely must have leaked this story because so many media outlets are running it. You would imagine it would be somebody's exclusive otherwise if it was picked up via an investigative journalistic route, are concluded. In short, this story has distracted from news on ordinary workers fighting for pay, jobs and conditions on the day's news agenda. We've also found out that despite Sharon claiming to not want to be political or reliant on Labour, the Unite has probably given an excess of £2 million to Labour, a party that won't join striking workers on picket lines, and has also just failed to pledge to reverse Tory anti-trade union laws, more of them coming down the line since Sharon Graham took over. And the union is now getting dragged by the Tories as corrupt. And that's despite the original audit finding no wrongdoing at all in the construction of that conference centre. Not only that, but Unite now cannot clear itself of these Tory accusations or accusations from anyone else until the police have finished investigating, at which time it would have made sense to go public to the press on this. Never mind, Labour should refuse to accept Unite's money. Unite should be demanding it back from them. What on earth has all this achieved for Unite and its members, though? I said at the start, ordinary members don't care who runs the union as long as the job gets done and they get the representation they need when they need it. But all this, who the heck is this helping at the end of the day when the union leadership appears to be undermining the union itself?